Welcome to Build a Drone Reviewer Podcast, Episode 51, Rotor Talk Live, Evo 2, Zino 2, Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 Updates, Mavic Air 2 Wishlist. Got that coming up next. The other night, I hosted Rotor Talk Live with co-host Ron Braun, Marcus Crawford, Lauren Donauer, and myself. We discussed, among other things, the cost of the FAA remote ID, the Evo 2 update, a Zino 2 update, a Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 update, and Mavic Air 2 wish list. Without any further ado, let's roll the broadcast in its entirety. Good evening. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 3, Episode 9, Zino 2, Mavic. We got a whole host of things we're talking about. We're going to start off with Zino 2 updates, Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 updates. We're going to do Mavic 2 Air wish list, Mavic Air 2 wish list, whole host of stuff. I'm going to start it off. Mr. Ron Brown, how are you this evening? And then you can pass it to Lauren, and then Lauren to Marcus.
Thank you, Bill. I'm doing very well tonight. I want to give a little shout out to our friend Rodney Bell. He's out of the hospital. He came home today. As many of you know, he had a triple bypass surgery over the weekend. But again, he's doing well. He's home now. And some of the guys in the drone community has started a GoFundMe for the system and his recuperation process. So if Chris Hope drops in the show later on, I think he can provide a link for that GoFundMe. So we'll be, hopefully Chris either drops in or sends it to me in a private message. But otherwise, I'm very excited to talk about the news with DJI dropping the prices on their premier prosumer drones, the Mavic 2 Pro and the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0, which I can barely say. And I'm also excited we got some updates on Autel Evo shipping now. So we got a ton of information. So let me throw it over to Lauren here, who's joined us tonight, and he's got a lot of information. Lauren, take it away.
Hi. Yep. I'm totally glad that it's finally warming up in Canada. we can get a little bit of better flying in. We've been doing some flying during the winter. A little bit of wind now, but hopefully that'll die off soon. I've been just totally overwhelmed with the number of people that want a little bit of help in learning how to fly and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be a good show tonight with all the topics, as Ron mentioned. And it's over to you, Marcus.
Yeah. Hey, good evening, everybody. Not a bad day. I went and had lunch with some of my former workmates today. And you know what? It makes me tickled to death that I'm retired after hearing their stories. Glad not to be doing that. It was a little windy here today, so didn't get out and do any drone flying. I hope to tomorrow. So looking forward to that. And yeah, a lot of things going on with regard to, yesterday was the last day we could comment on the proposed rules. So, up in the air, we're all kind of on pins and needles waiting to see about that. I'm excited to see drone prices drop. Ron talked about that. DJI dropped some prices, so that's a good thing. Tomorrow, I'm going to get out and fly the Eachine EX4 and probably get the original Hubsan Zino up in the air again. I'm kind of experimenting around with that thing. Had some battery warning issues on it, so I'm going to mess around with some of the firmware and stuff and see what we can come up with on that. But that's it. Build a drone reviewer. It's up to you.
It's Super Tuesday, but it's every Tuesday on Rotor Talk Live is a Super Tuesday because we have the super crew on tonight, okay? I had to say that. I had to say that. I just thought that was just spot on kind of stuff.
Well, right. 3 out of 4 ain't bad.
That's true. That's true. I'm the bad apple. Anyway, got a lot to talk about tonight. Now, I think Marcus mentioned yesterday was the cutoff for comments for remote ID. They had over 50,000. Tremendous response. I mean, from when I entered mine on Saturday, it had 30,000. So it almost doubled, which was fantastic. So people got out there, people got comments out there. But what I want to talk about tonight is not that so much as I'm going to put something up on the screen here. And let me go ahead and get this up here. Now, DJI actually, just to let you know, their comment, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think they said it was 89 pages, their comment. It was rather lengthy. Anyway, okay. Analysis puts remote ID for drone costs 9 times higher than FAA estimate. DJI urges FAA to reconsider. Now, I'm going to go down to this is a great article, and I will drop a link to it in the description. He concluded that the monthly average cost of remote ID network for a service user would be $9.83 rather than the FAA's $2.50 estimate, and the total cost over 10 years would be $5.6 billion with a B instead of the FAA's $582 million estimate. Okay, one of the things with this that I think is really interesting is, and I think I said it all along. What the FAA proposed was just something. It was a lobbyist putting it down on paper. It was never really truly architectured out, so to speak. It was never a prototype, was never built for it. I actually included that in my comments. So, it's nothing that had ever been actually proven to even work, let alone, be effective. And here, look at the cost. And I think that was a very good thing that DJI did. I want to go around and get your thoughts on that. Ron, what do you think about that?
Well, those numbers, were eye-opening today that the cost would be that so high. And, we were upset even when we thought it was only going to cost us a few dollars per month as users. So if that number is not basically taken care of through, making the corporations that are planning on doing deliveries that eat a lot of this up, it's going to make a lot of costs on the end user. And, why is it all in the drone user? Why, since this is kind of a public thing, why is it just going in the tax base overall, not, just in the, for drone users? I mean, other things that I don't use, I have to pay taxes for. So why does all fall on the drone user, especially the hobbyists? So, this is very upsetting news. And again, we're taking these numbers as truth here. I mean, I can't even assume these new numbers are unless they've been validated by some other sources. I can't take them as fact yet, but it's certainly an eye opener. Marcus, did you take a look at these numbers?
Well, just very briefly, but we all kind of knew that in our gut, right? The kind of tracking that they're talking about, and $10 a month sounded kind of cheap. So it is going to, just think of the infrastructure it's going to take to accomplish what they suggested. So it kind of makes sense. And I guess on one hand, it probably makes it where it's not viable, and hopefully will force the FAA's hand and have them change their plan in some way that's far more reasonable for everybody. One of my biggest concerns, I think all of us on the panel here own multiple drones. So if you had to then buy a subscription for each one of those drones, it definitely could get cost prohibitive and would thereby inhibit the hobby in general. So yeah, I mean, let's hope that things calm down just a little bit.
Hey, I've only got one drone, really, honest, swear to God.
But access to plenty.
Yeah, we won't ask you how many you have access to, Lauren. Well, and just my thoughts on this as well. I think, like I said, they went ahead and they put this proposal together, and I think we talked. The four of us have talked and discussed this, and it's been like, it was like a lobbyist put it down on paper, and it was never really truly planned out. It was just something that sounded good. It looked like it could work. Let's just throw it up in the air and see if it sticks, kind of a thing. And that's the wrong approach to this. But I think the response will be overall. I looked out there for some of them. Some of them were like crass and rude and whatever. But there were quite a few out there that were really honed in on, and were on point. I know Marcus shared his with me. And his was fantastic. I kept mine about the same length. I got what I wanted to say across in this. And I think a lot of us did. And I think the FAA is going to stand up and take notice on this. I don't think we're going to see them just roll it out as is. It's just, it's too faulty. There's too many things that are wrong with it. And then, and someone brought this up, and I'm just going to throw this out there as the last point that I wanted to make about it and see if you guys have anything to do with it. It may not even be constitutional because of the privacy concerns. Okay. Because divulging personal information about us, our drones and our location, that's privacy. And I know there's a lot of laws about that. So, and I'm not a legal expert by any stretch of the imagination. So, stay tuned for that. But I'm very hopeful because we really came up and we responded. Now, not only did we respond, but the aircraft modelers responded as well too. So, let's keep them in mind because you know what? I'm eventually going to get a plane and I do want to fly it at a field and not have to worry about having to time it because of drones and so forth. Okay. I want to be able to just go fly a plane there. Okay. I have an interest in it. I've always had it. And that's something that I would like to capitalize on. All right.
But Bill, were you at DC this weekend at the protest for the what was the protest called? What was it? They had like a title for it. They had like a tagline for the whole protest. What I'm referring to is a lot of drone pilots and we'll say, I don't know if the hobby airplane pilots, anybody that flies remote type vehicles. They had a protest outside the FAA building in DC area, a peaceful protest where they just wanted our stand to be known on this issue. So I know Ken Herron was there supporting them, so it was a good thing. And Bill speaks so well of this. I think Bill should enter the race on Super Tuesday and run as the presidential candidate in the U.S. And he could run on the on the remote ID ticket or the non-remote ID ticket, whatever. I think he could garner a lot of votes. He may even, hey, California hasn't closed the polls yet. You could jump in real quick and take California and get a lot of delegates.
Well, here's my platform. I think Hubert Hoover was the president that said a chicken in every pot. I'm gonna have a Zino 2 on every desk. Okay, a Zino 2.
How could you do with that platform?
Hubsan, and then I'd have the support of the Chinese. We wouldn't have the Russians meddling. We'd have the Chinese meddling this time, and they'd see to it that I'd get elected. So.
Right, and what you could say, Bill, is the tariffs stay in place except drone tariffs are eliminated.
That's right. And Ron and Marcus will be president of Zino Nation for life in my administration. Okay,
and also co-presidents of the FAA for life.
That's right for life. Okay, yeah, we're gonna abolish elections after I get in. All right, it's gonna be for life.
Drone ID 69 brings up a good point, and I think everybody probably agrees with it. Is nobody is really against the remote ID. But just not in the fashion that they're proposing it.
Yeah.
I think everybody that's in the industry acknowledges that there is the need for it. But what the thing that everybody needs to kind of fight against, as Bill said, is the privacy issue, number one, and cost, number two. I'm just envision this whole thing is a large part of this is to allow the commercial market to get in. And if the commercial market is going to come in, they should be paying a very large part of this cost too, for an industry where you've got thousands and thousands of people that are already in it and have been having no issues so far. But we have to move forward. But let's move forward with a little bit of common sense. And basically taxing people to death, which is essentially what this ends up doing, does not make any sense.
Very well said, Lauren. I want you to run for vice president.
There you go. Okay.
Lloyd said, wait, I'm running for president. I don't want to run against you, Bill. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you this time around, Lloyd. I don't have any problem with it. As long as we can fly our Zino 2s. Anyway, we're going to move on here. And we actually got some real news today, which was absolutely fantastic. And it is all good news, all right? The good news is that the Evo 2, we're gonna be seeing it towards the end of March. Refresh my memory what the Pro model is. The Pro model's the 8 GB. Is that right, Lauren?
Yes.
Okay.
No. Sorry, the Evo 2 is the 8 GB. The Pro model is the 6K, but with the large sensor.
Right, and the dual is going to be the one with the dual imaging. Okay. Yes. Well, the Evo 2 is going to be coming out first. All right, and then it's going to be followed by the Evo 2 Pro with the other one. And it's good news because and you know from reading what was shared today, it was good to hear that they have the software issue addressed, fixed, ready to go. And of course, they did fall a little behind because of the coronavirus over in China. That's to be expected. And who wouldn't say that? I mean, like I said, our thoughts and prayers are with everyone who's been affected by it around the world. Pray for recovery for everybody. We want the best outcome. We want to get this eradicated and taken care of, so it's not a problem anymore. But it's also good to hear that things are returning to some semblance of normalcy over in China. If the reports are accurate, the number of cases have gone way down over there. So that's also good news too. But, for their economy, but, switch gears here. For those that have been waiting for the Evo 2, this is fantastic news. Now, the Evo 2 here in the U.S., and I believe these prices are right, $14.95 for the Evo 2, and I believe $17.95 for the Evo 2 Pro. I think
that's correct, Bill.
Okay. Wanted to get everybody's thoughts on this. I mean, this is great news. Ron, what are your thoughts on this?
Bill, I want to fill out what you were saying. What the information Bill is passing along today was based on a letter that Altel sent to its dealers. Saying that the software bug that delayed the February launch has now been taken care of, but now they've run into a factory slowdown with the coronavirus of course, in China, and this will push the launch about to the middle of March for the base Evo, the 1495 model, and then maybe 2 weeks later you'll see the Evo 2 Pro and the Evo 2 Enterprise about 2 weeks after that. So again, this is all based on a letter. This isn't just wild rumor. They had a screenshot of the letter that the Altel dealers had received. So this has some basis in fact. And no, I think this is terrific news, and for especially for people in the U.S. and I'm sure Canada too. Unlike other drones you talk about, like the Hubsan 2, whatever, which is tough to get a hold of when Evo 2 comes out. I'm sure shortly after its release, we could just walk into our local Best Buy, pick it off the shelf, go home and charge the batteries up and be flying the same day and not sitting around endlessly waiting for tracking numbers that never show up. So it's an exciting drone. I mean, I've definitely had thoughts of, canceling that Zino 2 order, use that money as a down payment on the Evo 2, which, again, if DJI doesn't release a Mavic 3, which we don't think they will, good chance they won't anyways, that this Evo 2, especially the Evo 2 Pro, could be the hot drone of the year. But I'm still not convinced that'll be much better than the Mavic 2 Pro. But I'm going to throw it to Lauren and see what he thinks on this subject.
Well, the one correction there is their dual. I don't expect that to be until June. Okay. There's a few little items there that may not quite be ready. But yes, the exciting thing is it seems that the Pro version release date is actually moved up. because that wasn't supposed to be for close to another month or so. But as to the leaked document that you're referring to, they're now saying that it's going to be only about 2 weeks behind the actual release of the 8K version, the Pro or the Evo 2 version. So that's good news, and I'm hoping to have my hands on the Pro version in about 2 weeks.
Oh, exciting!
Very good.
So
we all know where to come to go fly an Evo 2 now.
well, maybe we'll see.
It's a little bit of a trip up there, just a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah. Hey, Bill, just jump on your private jet. It's a quick trip for you.
That's true. I'll ping our CEO from Publix and ask him. Just say, I'm going to be borrowing the corporate jet just for a few days, if you don't mind, and just pop on up there. Okay.
Sure.
Marcus, your thoughts?
Hey, so like Lauren at CES, I got to get my hands on the on the new Evo 2 drones, and they look really nice. I guess from my perspective, I don't think I'm going to spend that much money on a drone until I know more about what our rules and regulations are going to be here in the United States. One more comment. We've got Dr. Ted Bowman in the chat, and he was mentioning that the data does not bear out that with the coronavirus, there's a lot of hysteria, and it's getting a little bit overblown. So the only reason I mentioned that is because how it affects our drones and us getting out and I guess flying our drones too. So they say everything I'm hearing is it sounds like things are really kind of calming down in China. So hopefully production will get rocking and rolling, and we'll get our drones soon and get out and do some flying. Then the open question remains, what are the FAA rules going to be? Although I also want to throw that caveat out there. We know that whatever it is going to be years off. So we have a lot of good flying in the meantime.
Marcus, can I ask you a quick question? Now that the portal for the FAA questionnaire is closed now, what do you think the process will be, or how long do you think the process will be for them to shift through the over 50,000 entries there to consolidate them into some kind of a data where they can make decisions on?
Well, so Ron, I'm trying to remember all the details of the presentation that they gave us, but they said that it would take a couple of months for them to digest that, and then whatever they recommend about that. I think it's in their hands. They can do it, I believe, as quickly or drag it out as long as they want. I'm sure they're going to want to go through those comments. If they don't, I'd be pretty disappointed because it was a lot of work for a lot of people. And I will say, like Bill said, I actually went in there and read a lot of them. And, some of those model airplane guys put in some very, very thoughtful comments in there, as did drone people. But then there were occasionally some really rude stuff. And you wish you could have just blocked some of those guys out of there, throwing around all kinds of epithets and so forth. But overall, I thought the comments that we saw in there were really good. And I hope that the FAA takes them seriously, looks at them, and understands that there's a lot of us that still want to have the freedom to fly our drones. So anyway,
I think Marcus brought up a great point about not buying drones over $1,000 right now until all this kind of like settles down. And, a lot of people are of that mindset right now. For me, I'm expecting, and we're going to talk a little bit coming up about the Mavic Air 2. I think that price point is definitely going to be under 1,000. So, but that $1,000 bellwether for me, that's kind of a telltale sign as well. So, we'll see. Stay tuned. Lauren, I got a question for you. Did you guys take pre-orders for the Evo 2, or you didn't do that?
No, absolutely no pre-orders.
Okay.
There's There was too much uncertainty on the actual date.
Okay.
And anytime you do pre-orders like that, it's kind of money up front. So
yeah,
and if people put money up front, then if Autel delays it, people get upset.
Yeah. So, I know Ken Dono works with DroneWorks, and he said he echoed the same sentiments. And he talked to the owner of DroneWorks, and they just, and I think if I'm correct, if what Ken told me was correct, they just gave their money back to everybody and said, look,
yep.
It's time, we'll let you know.
Yep. That's what you got to do. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're going to switch gears here. We're going to go to the Zino 2. Okay. Let's check with Ron and Marcus and see where their boat is on the way over to the United States.
Well, Bill,
information on the boat.
Yeah, the slow boat from China. I checked my tracking number at about approximately 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the only it was no update at all. All is a shipping labels printed out in California and waiting for the boxes to come off the boat so they can slap it on. So absolutely no progress at all. And I do have some other updates on GearBest. I had yeah, go ahead, Lauren. Take a break. I had put the Hubsan Zino 2 battery and the ND filters not in my cart, but I favorite them, put in my favorites so they would be there. And why I didn't put them in my cart, because they weren't available for shipping to the U.S. But now, even in my favorites category in GearBest, they're grayed out. You can no longer even get in there and mess with them. So that's kind of alarming. And then I went over and checked the Hubsan, the official Hubsan US website, and I see the ND filters are for sale there, but not the spare batteries. So even the ordering the accessories that you need is a bit dicey. But we did get some information on Zino Nation last night. It seems that Chris, the QC guy, has been doing some testing with the ND filters from other drones like the FIMI X8 and the
Anafi.
The Parrot Anafi drone, and I haven't got a chance to watch Chris's video yet, but they say that the Anafi the Anafi ND filters fit very well on the Zino to cut down on what we've commonly known as the sun flare issue. So that's a little bit of information, even though nothing on the updates. Marcus, how's where is your Zino 2 right now?
I got a little theory going, Ron. So mine says shipped, and of course they've printed the shipping document and given it to FedEx. But I suspect that my Zino 2 is still in parts bins in a Zino factory someplace. And once they get it put together and send it over to GearBest, maybe then it will ship. Who knows?
Oh, okay. What are you a bet man? Let's go to Las Vegas and put down odds. What will happen first? We will get our Zino 2s, which we ordered before Christmas, or the Autel Evo will be on the shelf at Best Buy. What will happen first?
The Evo 2 will be on the shelf first, guaranteed.
I was afraid you guys were going to say that.
Not even close. Not even close. Now, I've got an update that I wanted to share with everybody.
I just was going to finish my thought. Ron jumped in on me there.
Sorry, Marcus.
Did you miss me?
Yeah. Go ahead, Bill.
No. Go ahead, Marcus.
No. Go ahead.
Okay. Let's go ahead. I got to share my screen here. All right.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Marcus. Sorry. I know you're probably in the middle of something. I messed you up.
Yep. No worries.
All right. Now, I've been actually getting some communications with Hubsan, which I think is pretty good. They've been very responsive, a lot more responsive than GearBest has. And I love how they do their hello, dears. Hello, dear. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Zino 2 is out of stock. I estimated there will ship you order at promised time, but labor shortage led to delivery late because of the virus. Okay, and I understand that. And I said, okay, thank you. Please keep me updated. And she says, okay, thank you. The next dispatch will be shipped around March 23rd, on 23rd March. So actually got an update here, which I thought was pretty interesting. Okay. We actually got some news as far as that's concerned. So Now a point that I made, and it was great. And by the way, I'll talk about this here in a second. But one of the points I made on Zino Nation last night was, if you're still, interested in getting it from Hubsan, okay, you need to look on their Hubsan.com, not HubsanUS.com, because Hubsan US does not have it. It shows out of stock. So you have to go to Hubsan.com, their main site, if you're interested in ordering it. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about last night or tonight was we had a great show on Zino Nation last night. Had Josh from Parks and Tech, and I know he's in the chat. Did a fantastic unboxing and setup video, and wanted to give him a lot of kudos for that, because what he did was he kept the camera on the whole time he was doing the setup. Okay, took us through the firmware update process. Crossed our fingers, making sure the controller had enough of a charge before he finished it. But it did complete everything, and that was so good to see. And everything went well, and he was able to get an FPV view. And he actually took a first flight. It was a very short one up in his backyard, not really, but he's going to have more out. And when he gets a couple of flights in under his belt, we're going to have him on the show, and we're definitely going to talk about this. So, that's definitely some good news. It was great also last night to see L3 Toys in the chat. That was definitely interesting, and they're making an effort as far as trying to speak some English in their videos, which I think is fantastic. I think Ron brought that up last night. Another one, and I'll probably let Marcus talk a little bit more about this. Blueskyver just did another video, and he's one. You do need to watch some of his videos because he puts out some great videos about the Zino 2. Now, Marcus, he talked about the cables within the remote. Can you explain that for everybody?
Yeah. So what happened to Blueskyver? And he was the first person in North America that any of us know of that had the Zino 2. And he said after a number of times inserting the micro USB connector into the controller, because you're going to put it in there, put a charge cable in there, and then you're going to put your OTG cable to your phone. So you're constantly connecting and unconnecting. Well, it came loose. The solder broke loose off of the board on the inside, and of course he reported that to Hubsan, and they're shipping him a new controller. In the meantime, he took it to a cell phone repair shop, and they were able to resolder those connections for him. But then it messed up his FPV, so something was not quite right there, evidently. But his recommendation was that when you get that controller, just use a micro USB cable with a regular USB on the other end, and just leave it in there permanently. Don't take it out. And then to connect to your device, get one of those cables that has a female USB, and then whatever your device connector is on the other end. So then when you're charging, you never then are going to pull that out of the controller, because when you charge it, you've got the USB on the end. You just plug that into your charger, and then when you're hooking your device up to it, you've got whatever your cable is, and so you're not pulling it in and out of the controller, because his feeling is that's a weak point.
Marcus, I think you mentioned something? Did Blueskyver, and what's the gentleman's name again? I forget.
All I remember is what Thanos, like in the in the movies.
In the movies, okay, all right. Well, Blueskyver, did he have some links for cables that you can buy for that in his video?
He did. They were Canadian links, so they worked for Lauren, and they didn't work for us.
Okay, all right. Well, what I'm going to do is
Amazon.
Yeah, I'll end up getting them and find U.S. The comparable ones for the U.S. because I think it would be a great thing for everybody to have that. And I think that was a very good thing that he did, and a very good video that he did, because it's good to know these weak points, and this is one of the things that I love about the drone community is, when we have issues or problems, we share these things amongst everybody, we talk about it, and we find solutions for it. And here's a great example of that. So Blueskyver, kudos to you for getting a solution out for this, something that's going to work for everybody, because we found it's a weak point, and just leaving it in there permanently is going to solve a lot of problems. I think that was an excellent solution. I really like that.
I have a quick question for Marcus. Do you think that, I watched Blueskyver's video I watched them all, but I watched that one closely on Marcus's recommendation. And do you think there's a possibility that maybe Blueskyver's Zino 2 says the early one maybe just didn't get soldered properly, and it's only an issue related to his drone? Or you think the way it was put on the motherboard could be a weak point for all Zino 2 controllers? Do you have any guess on what I just said?
Yeah, so I thought the same thing, Ron. I thought, could it be? We know he had an early one. Could it just be related? Well, sometimes there's one-off defects, right? Could be just a defect on his controller and no other. But how do we know that? I thought his solution was very elegant in that it doesn't cause you any harm to leave that thing plugged in there. So why not do that? But that's a good point. I don't think there's any way for us to know, Ron. And the other thing that I want to say about Blueskyver is he is an engineer, so he has he knows what he's talking about.
Right. Now, and all this cabling, the buy all we need 2 cables under his recommendation. And what would for US, what would the cost be for both cables?
I went ahead and bought those cables, in advance, so that I'll have them when I need them. And I don't know, it was $10 or $12 for both of them put together. It wasn't much.
So you mean combined it was only like, say, under $15?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so
easy.
Yeah. A very affordable insurance policy against ripping the micro USB connector off your board. Yeah. So
one of the last things I want to talk. Thanks for bringing that up, guys. This is a great discussion. One of the last things I want to talk about. We know our friend Chad B, and we need to have you on the show sometime. He has a bad ribbon cable because he lost his FPV. He thought it might have been because of the firmware update, but it ended up it's a bad ribbon cable, and I don't know. I think is Hubsan probably going to send you a new one or a new camera? Just let us know in the comments section, Chad. But again, thank you, Chad, for bringing this to our attention. This helps the community at large to know, not go stir crazy, when you're having problems. But it could be just a defect with this and a defect with that, like Blueskyver's could have been a potential defect. Chad, yours could have been just a potential defect or a one-off. It could just be that this just happened on one occasion. So I think this is good information. I really like the fact that everybody's working together here to share all this information. It's also good to find out that there's some remedies for that sun flare issue that are available. I think that's good too. So take advantage of these opportunities. I'll get the links. I'll drop them in there after the show tonight, so you guys can definitely get those cables if you're interested in. And do like Marcus said, if you're still waiting for your Zino 2, go ahead and get those cables ahead of time. Get them now before you actually get it. And believe me, I think you'll have plenty of time before that happens. Okay, I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Jaybird just brought something up here that is, I think, people concerned about a lens flare issue. There's a lot of folks that are experimenting with lens hoods. That could be a big help for that too. Just a thought. Heck, I was flying my Mavic Mini the other day, and you turn that thing towards the sun and you get a lens flare. I saw the same thing on my original Zino. I kind of think it's a little overblown, the issue. We're in the wintertime and we have the sun really low in the sky, so it's really evident this time of year. I'm just wondering if we're not kind of overblowing that issue a little.
Yeah. Well, Chad put an update in there. He's getting ready to ship it. So we're going to switch gears. we're going to talk about, it's from all that we're hearing. It sounds like probably, April or May, we're going to see a Mavic Air 2. Now, what we're going to talk about tonight, and I kind of like this because we're going to talk about our wish list. Okay. What we want to see on the Mavic 2. And, when you include in your wish list here, we're going to go around to everybody. On
Mavic Air 2, Bill.
Yes, Mavic Air 2.
You left the air out. I want to confuse the audience.
Thank you. Mavic Air 2. Include price in your wish list. I think that's important, and be specific as to you want that includes a Flymore combo with the 2 extra batteries and a case and whatever. So, Ron, I'm going to let you start off on this.
Thank you, Bill. Just a couple quick show notes before I get into that. I want to thank Chris Hope for providing us the link for Rodney Bell's GoFundMe. So it's in the chat. It's back a little ways, but Bill did drop in the chat for us. So thanks for working with us on that, Chris Hope. And I also want to promote my my buddy Philly Mike here. That's Philly Drone Life. He's in the house with us. And he plans on doing a little impromptu live show after we're done. So if you want to go over to Philly Drone Life and jump on his live show, please go over there when this show's over. But to answer Bill's question, the Mavic Air 2, which Lauren thinks will be out in we think April or May. I'm not an owner of the Mavic Air 1. A lot of people in the show had the Mavic Air 1. So I've never really had my hands on one. I've seen them, but I've never flown them. And Bill's about features. The big sticking point I've seen in all the reviews of the Mavic Air 1 was the noisy propellers. So I'm sure that'll be addressed and fixed. The number 2 issue was I don't know what the number 2 issue. Everybody talked over and over about the noisy propellers. I think
Wi-Fi
was kind of short on the Mavic Air 2. I don't think it even got 20 minutes in the air. I don't know what the stated figure was, but I think in reality it got under 20 minutes of flight time, and also the range. It was a Wi-Fi based drone that didn't have a protocol like an OcuSync or anything. So people were concerned with the range of it, but it has a lot of positive too. 4K 60, small size, flew real well. Had a lot of great camera features in it going for it. So I guess I would, to answer Bill's question, I'd like to see quieter prospects. I know we're going to get. I would like to see maybe 5 minutes more battery life at least, and I guess a little bit of range. And I'm not so concerned about the range, but just strong FPV connection within the range that it does get. And it's probably not the drone for me because I had the Mavic 2 Pro. And if this drone's anywhere around the $999,000 ballpark, it's probably like too much for me that has somebody like the Mavic 2 Pro. But if you don't have a drone at all, like if you don't have a higher Mavic 2 series, then it may be the drone for you. For me, it would have to be $899 or less for me to even come on my radar. Lauren, what do you think?
Well, one big complaint that you kind of missed on that one was a lot of people complained about camera angles. If you get into kind of high speed stuff, it had a limited range of up angle. So basically it was limited to 15 degrees. So in sport mode, you'd be looking at the ground much more than you were straight ahead. Now my wish list is basically been fulfilled because of the info that I've received. Pretty much everything that I wanted them to fix sounds like it's going to be fixed, which does include pretty much everything you've said, Ron. Increased battery life, new motors, new ESCs. Probably expect about a battery life between 23 and 27 minutes instead of the 15. Better camera angles, increased range for your transmission, and I'm forgetting one thing, but I can't remember what it is now. But yeah, there is most of the issues that have been come across have been resolved, and I won't say all of them, but I had a good detailed list of everything rumored to be fixed. and it seems like they've made just drastic improvements on it.
So what I'm going to say is that you always hear people in real estate say that the most important thing is the three most important things are location, location, location. I'm going to say with the Mavic Air 2, the three most important things are price, price, and price. If it's priced correctly, and I'm quite sure, Lauren, we know DJI, and they do pay attention, and they know the shortcomings, the things that people have complained about. So they absolutely are going to correct those things. If that drone can come in at $700 or $800, it will be a runaway hit, an absolute runaway hit.
What I'm hearing, and we're talking Canadian dollars here, but what I'm hearing is between $1,100 and $1,200, and Canadian, okay. And who the heck made the comment about the obstacle avoidance?
Mike Kinney, Mike Kinney about obstacle avoidance.
That was one of the other things, was the 360 obstacle avoidance, and of course ADSB.
Oh,
that's huge.
Yeah.
Well, for me, obviously, and I'm just not going in any particular order. Number one, new ESCs and new props. That's a given. I think that's one of the things. I think everybody. I mean, when you had that, my whole thing was, when I first heard it, I said, "Where are the wasps?" Okay, it sounded like a wasp. I knocked a wasp nest down and they're loose. Number two for me is I want to see a better communication system, and what that communication system is, I don't know. If it's a truly enhanced Wi-Fi that's not going to cause interference, because I know Marcus didn't have an issue with it. I didn't have an issue with it, and I flew in a heavy urban area. Okay, there's a lot of houses here. There's a lot of signal coming out. And I never had any issue with it, but I know a lot of people did. So I hope this is one thing that DJI has addressed. I think the increased flight time, I think that's a must as well. The 360 obstacle avoidance, I think that's a must. And I'm also thinking too that as far as the camera design, the assembly up front, I think most of that was pretty good. But I know, especially, and I did watch a lot of. I watch a lot of other drone reviewers' videos. I watch a lot of Billy Kyle. Hi, Billy, if you're watching. Okay, and one of the things, when he would take the Mavic Air and put it in sport mode, when he would do it, the Mavic Air had this tendency to kind of like dip. Okay, kind of like do one of these as you're flying along, which is okay, but the camera doesn't compensate for it. It's like that gimbal's still. And you got to try to do it, but it's when it was in sport mode, it just didn't
Bill,
go.
That's the 15 degrees that I was talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
The camera dips down because there's not enough range of motion.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that's been fixed.
That's awesome.
Also, Doug reminded me that the other thing was the lower noise.
Yeah, the lower noise. So,
yeah.
and I'll go with Marcus. I like you said, realtors always say location, location, location. I'm going to say price, 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 and the same thing. This thing, US, has got to be under $1,000. Okay, there's no questions asked, because you're looking at probably you spend another couple $100, you can get probably a Mavic 2 Zoom refurbished. You're not that far away from a Mavic 2 as well, Pro. So it really kind of lends itself, and I think it's a perfect size drone. One of the things that I really liked about the Mavic Air was the size of the Mavic Air. Okay, it really seemed perfect. The Mini, I love the Mini. Don't get me wrong, but I think it just seems too small to me. All right, and the Mavic 2 Pro, it's fantastic. It's great. But, is that the kind of drone that I can put in my carry-on and take with me if I'm going somewhere for the weekend? Probably not. It probably needs its own bag. But with the Mavic Air 2, that would be that kind of drone. Okay, that would fit in there very nicely, and it's kind of, and I'll call it beefy if you want to use that word, substantial. Okay, I think that's important.
Bill, can we what you're talking about here? Can I ask Lauren from sort of a retailer standpoint, what type of customer looks for the Mavic Air drone versus the other selections in the DJI line? Is there a typical customer that comes in interested in that type of drone?
Oh, was that for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Actually, that's the people kind of want the high end, but don't want the high dollar. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's very capable in the camera, but they're willing to put up with a little bit less than say moving to something like the upper end Mavic series. There's lots of good, and especially if everything comes true that they're supposed to be doing on it. It's going to be great, and it's the stepping stone between the Mavic Mini and then going to either the Zoom or the Pro, and the price is going to be kind of right in the middle.
Hey, Lauren, so have they said anything weight-wise? Because one of the things that I thought about with the next Air is it would be really cool, not 249 grams like the Mini, but if it was a really light, compact little drone like that. One of the coolest things about the Mini is how easy it is to carry around. It's such a small little package. You think they're going to make it more compact?
Nope, okay. Absolutely not. If you want the technology of having things like obstacle avoidance and stuff, have you actually seen the physical size of an Air? It's not much bigger than a Mini.
Oh, yeah, I used to have one. I used to fly one.
Yeah. It's really, when it's folded up, it's not really that much bigger than a Mini. Yeah. But when you look at the weight, there's no way to make it any smaller, because if you've looked at the inside of one, there's no room.
I'm just saying that this little package right here is so freaking easy to carry around. It's awesome.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. And
a little shout out to a couple of my homeboys that are here. Lonnie and Douglas. Hey, buddies.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. And I think this is a good thing. Okay, we had this discussion because this is just pure. We're just having some fun here with this. All right, and I think you get to see, and I think also too, it helps build some enthusiasm for the product when this product does finally hit the shelves. And I think this is going to fill a void, okay? Because, you don't really have that sub $1,000 drone from DJI, that really does the 4K like this, okay? And that is, and there's a lot to be said for that, okay? The Spark obviously is the late great Spark is no longer with us. As we want to say, may it rest in peace. But the Mavic Air is alive; it's healthy. It's a fun drone to fly. I found it to be very responsive. I really liked its maneuverability. I had zero problems with it, and it would be a drone that I would definitely recommend. And am I considering? And this is the last question I'm going to ask all you guys before we do closing thoughts. Is this a drone that you would consider purchasing for me? If it's under $1,000, absolutely, I'm hitting the buy button. Ron,
I'm gonna.
Go, Marcus, if you want to jump in, you go right ahead, sir.
Mine's easy. Yes.
Okay. We'll go counterclockwise. When you're done, Marcus, throw it to Lauren.
Lauren, go.
Okay, absolutely, and my name's already written on the check.
There you go. Bill, before I give you my answer, did you see what's going in the chat? A lot of people in the chat, rather than a Mavic Air 2, they want a Mini Pro.
A Mini Pro.
Ain't gonna happen.
And I would get the Mini Pro first. But to answer Bill's question, at $999, the Mavic Air, if it's the specs that we speculate on tonight, it's a no for me. But I also want to throw in real quick. This will be a story we're going to save maybe for next week on Zino Nation and Bill the Drone Review show. But Bill, we have to talk about the news that came out about the our favorite Skydio 2 drone today. Supposedly they filed with whoever they filed to, they use a different bandwidth signal, and there'll be an update called for the Skydio 2, like a firm update coming out. Well, they're going to get increased range by using these different transmission technique. Have you guys seen this? I know we don't have time to get into it, but I just wanted to throw it out there, kind of a sneak peek, so we could do our homework for our shows next week.
One of the downsides they're saying, though, Ron, is that the FPV will not be as high fidelity because of the bandwidth they're going to use. But it will have greater range.
Yeah, again, we don't have time to get into it now, but we will. This is a sneak preview. If you want all the information on this, you come back next week on both our shows, and we will take a deep dive. Bill, is that a deal?
That's a deal. You got that for sure, 100%.
So I've said too much, but my answer is it's going to take a lot for me to buy the Mavic Air 2. It's going to have to be a showstopper that we don't know about. Throw it back to Bill.
All right. Well, we covered a lot of topics tonight. I mean, we hit the cost of this FAA remote ID, which I don't think we've really touched upon. And I'm glad DJI did that, because it really kind of brings a perspective to things in terms of, the realness of this. I think that was good that we discussed that. And again, I'll drop a link to the article in the description so you guys can check that out. We also talked about the great news about the Evo 2 coming out. That is just super. All right. And, while some of us may not buy the Evo 2, and I want to make this point abundantly clear, competition for DJI is a great thing. Okay. Because everybody wins. Okay. It forces DJI to one up, and Autel is putting out some quality products. Okay. The Evo, even with all its flaws and blemishes, it was a quality drone, and it's a great drone. B&H had a ridiculous price on their refurbished units for $599 that's now sold out. So, the Evo 2 is something, if you're looking at 8K or if you're looking at 6K with a 1-inch sensor, this is definitely the kind of drone that you need to definitely take a good, hard, serious look at. We talked about the Zino 2. We talked about, things going on with that, and updates from all of us as far as like where are ours at, if it's sitting in a parts bin over in Shenzhen, or if it's on the slow boat from China over to the United States right now, we don't know. But it was good that we talked about Blueskyver, and about the cable concern with the remote, and the solution that he came up with for that. I think that's something that everybody needs to seriously consider and get those cables. And again, I'll get links later in the description so you guys can get that out. And also the solution with using the Anafi filters to help take care of the lens flare. I think that's a good thing too. And then also to know, Chad put an update in, he had a bad cable, so he's going to be sending it back. So, there's some resolutions there. And then, we kind of wrap things up tonight, and we also talked about the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 being on sale, along with the Mavic 2 Pro. Great prices on both of those drones. I know Ron brought that up to me, the other day. And I think, it's going to make a difference, going forward for that. And who knows, is this a bellwether for something? And I'm just going to kind of leave that thought out there. Okay. I'm not even going to complete it. And then we finished up with our wish list for the Mavic Air 2. We just went over that. So gentlemen, closing thoughts, any order, go for it. I'll finish up.
It was a great show tonight. We hit a lot of good topics. Bill, you raised a great selection of topics to talk about. It was always great to have Lauren on with us, and of course Marcus is here with us regularly. So I don't want to turn this a big conversation. I'll just get a yes or no out of Lauren with the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0, which I always have a hard time saying, at that new price point of $1,599. Is it a relevant drone to get in this market?
Yeah, I think so. It's there's still all those people that are holding out hope for the Phantom 5. You're not going to see that as much as you might want to. Yeah, that's not going to happen. A little bit of late breaking news. There might be a delay on the Mavic Air 2.
Okay.
It's not totally confirmed yet, but I recently got just some info that it might be delayed a bit. Now, the reason behind it, I'm trying to find out, but we will wait and see. So, but still, that was unconfirmed. So I still expect April or May.
Good to hear. Marcus.
So, yeah, thank you, Lauren, for that information, everybody. And, we're not used to drones not showing up on time. That never happens.
No, it doesn't.
But, hey,
and what color is the sky in your world there, Marcus?
There you go. Hey, tomorrow I'm supposed to have a nice blue sky day here, and it's supposed to be 60 degrees, which is going to feel like summertime. And so I'm hoping to get out and fly. And I've never flown. I've got that little eSheen EX4. I've never flown it, so I'm looking forward to getting that little guy up in the air and seeing what it's worth. And like I said, I'm still messing around with the original Hubsan Zino, experimenting around with a couple of things. So I'm hoping to get out and fly tomorrow. That's kind of what's on my agenda. So absolutely looking forward to that.
It's going to be a good day to fly, Marcus?
It's going to be a good day to fly. And the only other thing I want to add is really a great conversation tonight, gentlemen. Thank you for letting me be a part of it. And yeah, Bill.
Well, you know what? You could have been spending your Super Tuesday watching Fox or CNN or CBS, ABC, NBC, but you chose to spend Super Tuesday with the right crowd here. Okay,
There's more delegates here than any place.
That's right. I also personally, I want to add a couple of things here before we close up tonight. The county that I live in here in Florida has had two positive cases of COVID-19 coronavirus spotted, and one was from Italy. She had just come back from Italy through the airport, and the other person is her roommate. And then there's a gentleman in Manatee County, which is where Bradenton is, just south of us, who's in the hospital in his 50s. They said he's in stable condition. Keep them in your thoughts and prayers on this. There is a little bit of a buy on things. I went out to the store the other day. Hand sanitizer is nowhere to be found. Okay. You can still find other things, but you can't find hand sanitizer. And one of my pieces of advice is don't panic with all of this. Okay. Listen to what your officials tell you. Okay. They're there for your best interest. One of the other things is, I have a computer that's supposed to be showing up anytime now. I actually got a shipment notice on it after it got delayed. One of the things I'm planning on doing is wiping it down with Lysol wipes before I open it up. So just to make sure and just to double check. So, but everybody, please keep all these people in your thoughts and prayers, not only here in the United States, but around the world with this coronavirus. Hopefully, we can get a solution to this. I'm sorry to be on my soapbox about it, but I think it's important enough that we bring it up, that everybody makes themselves aware of this, but not panic. Okay. Enough of that. Okay. You know what, as Marcus says, it's not just going to be a good day to fly. It's going to be a great day to fly. Thursday, I have a vacation day, and it's going to be a great day to fly because that's what I plan on doing on Thursday is get a lot of flying in. So everyone, thank you so much, and it's a great day to fly. Take care, everybody.
Night all.
Good night.
Good night.